This is the Halftime Oranges podcast, brought to you by Keegs and Dicky. This is another episode of the Halftime Oranges podcast. Today we have a fullback from NZ. He played for the NZ schools, the NZ under-20s, played for Canterbury, the Highlanders, Crusaders, and now is based over in Scotland playing for the Glasgow Warriors. It is the one and only Josh McKay. How's it going, Joshy?
Yeah, going bloody good, boys. How are you lads going?
Yeah, good. We're good. Dicky, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit down the dumps, obviously, after changed allegiances last night. But I've woken up this morning, the sun's still shining, so I'll get on with the day. I've copped a fair bit of abuse over the last night's evening.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Right.
People have been spraying you through social media, so I've heard.
Yeah, I think I copped about 15 direct messages on Instagram, and then countless Snapchats of abuse. So. But great game of code, actually. So one of the best World Cup games, I think, in history. But what are your thoughts on it, Joshy, watching? You played with a few of those lads who are out there?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. As far as spectacle goes, everyone sort of, that's the sort of footy everyone wants to watch, you know what I mean? Like, good running footy. I didn't think Wayne Barnes got himself too involved, which was good, it would be pretty easy to just get quite whistle happy and sort of take over the game. But I think considering how a lot of the World Cup games have gone, that's probably one of the freer flowing ones we've seen, which is probably how both teams want to play, which I think made it a really good spectacle. Like as far as a fan goes, like that's what people want to be watching, that sort of footy. So I was buzzing the whole 80. I was pretty nervous. Was full standing up in front of the telly the last 5 minutes yelling at it. So it was good to see Sammy Whitelock get over the ball in the end, but far out, the boys deed their asses off. But yeah, what a game rugby. It's the best game of footy I've watched in a long time.
It was unreal.
Yeah, it was outstanding. What a result, Dicky? What a result.
Yeah, it was a good result.
Anyways, we'll crack in. So, Joshy, you're from Kaipoi. Apparently, Dicky's from there as well, but from what I understand, you're the king. What was it like growing up there and whatnot?
Growing up in Kaipoi, mate, was unreal. I literally grew up across the road from the rugby club. So straight out the lounge room, out the kitchen, boom. As Declan would know, straight over to the mighty footy grounds. The worst thing was my old man was the coach. So if I was ever a bit of a rat bag at training, he'd just send me home. So I'd rock up back at home from training, and Mum would be like, "Oh, what have you done tonight?" Because obviously training wouldn't have finished yet. And I did the walk of shame probably too many times, and I'd care to admit. But it was awesome growing up there. Dicka, how many years would we have played for Kaipoi together? We quite a few in the end, eh?
We had a couple, I think, maybe like 4.
Yeah.
Doug didn't pick me in one of the teams one time. He put me in the other team, which I was actually quite upset about. But that's okay. But I do remember actually you getting sent home from one training. Doug had actually lit you up and just sent you on your way. It was actually they were good times actually.
Yeah, sent me packing. But yeah, like my old man actually, he played over 200 games for Kaipoi, so I sort of had no say in the matter. Whether I was playing rugby or not, or who I was playing for. Obviously, growing up across the road helped a lot. My granddad was also heavily involved with Kaipoi, North Canterbury, and country rugby, so that was sort of the natural progression. He did a lot of coaching while he basically coached from under 5s through till probably more or less when I went to Boys High, which was sort of under 11 and a halves, I think, would have been probably the last time he coached myself, and he's currently president. So since I buggered off overseas, he was like, well, I don't have any footy to directly follow and support you over here. Like, obviously, he's always going to support, Canterbury Crusaders, All Blacks and all that. But since I was gone, he's like, oh, now's probably a good time to actually step up and sort of give back a little bit to the footy club. So yeah, he's been president there for 2 years now, which he's absolutely loving.
Yeah, so you spent quite a lot of time there. I remember when we were younger. I remember you and Zachy introduced me to the legendary Cowboy hedge. I remember there's like a hole in this hedge there, Keegs, that runs the perimeter, and you can sneak up and climb up. And Zach's Josh's cousin, but I remember watch this. They went up this hole and got, and they just sprinted along this whole hedge. And like I've gone up to give it a crack, and like way more difficult than you look, and just like fucking put your foot on the rock, you just go straight through the hedge. I just remember they're just absolute maniacs.
Yeah, the old Maccabi hedge,
and then-
Dick? It's nice and old, big solid hedge that way.
So there was some time spent there, and then I remember you're always down there ball boying as well, and I guess that sort of grew your love for code, fucking just being around the club, and obviously Doug was a legend of the club, so I know you're a passionate Kaiapoi man, and you returned there for a couple senior games before you went overseas, didn't you?
Yeah, so it actually worked out quite well in the end. So when I was down at the Landers, they sort of they're trying to grow club footy and all that down there. So we had to play club footy in Dunedin, which I agree with. I reckon that was great. That was how I got to know Keegs. But it was actually when I came back up for that season with the Crusaders where I was able to get a few runs out for Kaiapoi, which was bloody awesome. Going up, that was always sort of, part of the plan as well. Like, go up, she's a pretty stacked old back three in the Crusaders, so I knew I certainly wasn't going to be in the fold every bloody week. So I was like, well, I'm going to need to play some footy. So with any luck, they'll let me play for Kaiapoi, and full credit to them, they did. They didn't make me play in town. They actually didn't have any say in it at all. Didn't even steer me in a direction. So was able to play. I must have played 6 or 7 or 8 games for Kaiapoi, which was awesome because that was with a lot of boys who Decker and I grew up playing with. There's too many to mention. It was probably more than half the team. So it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome finally getting out on the field, playing footy again, I suppose, for the seniors, a team that coming up through the grades, we'd all stick around in the afternoon, ball boy, go inside, wait for them. We'd get our Coke and raspberry and bag of chips if we'd been good, wait for them to all come into the club and do speeches and whatnot. So, to finally get out there and, put on the jersey that, a lot of idols growing up and my old man had put on so many times was a pretty bloody fulfilling moment, to be honest with you. Mum actually, when I ran out there, she teared up on the sideline. So, she wouldn't have even done that when I debuted for the Crusaders. So, it was a pretty special moment finally getting out there for Kaiapoi.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've played for some outstanding teams, but like just being able to play for your home club that you've had your family's life being so richly involved, like that would have been, as you're saying, your mum tearing up. Obviously, yeah, that would have meant quite a lot, been a hell of a special moment.
Yeah, it was bloody awesome. Like, walking afterwards, it's just like another game for Kaiapoi. Like, we'd played so many together when we were younger with all the boys who we grew up playing with. Walking in the door, seeing your old man up on the wall for the 100 Club, talking to all the old fellas who all just love it. It was a bloody awesome moment.
No, that's awesome. So I thought we'd roll into just a little bit of your schoolboy footy. So you obviously went to Christchurch Boys, dare I say the factory. Are you there for all your schooling, all your high schooling?
Yeah. So I went to Kaiapoi Borough for primary, which is just around the road from home, and then went to Kirkwood Intermediate in Riccarton, and then went on to Boys High from 2011 to 2015. So I was there at the same time Decker was at Bede, so we'd gone from playing together a lot to then playing against each other because he'd go play for a Hoka in the afternoon and I'd go play for Kaiapoi, and then in the first 15 days we'd play each other, and it was good. I absolutely loved Boys High. Wouldn't have wanted to go to school anywhere else, to be honest with you. Made a lot of good friends. We did. We had good teams in the first 15. We went to top 4 in my first year in 2014. We managed to take out the Press Cup and then beat Otago in the South Islands. Went up there and who we get rolled by? I think it was Rotorua Boys or Hamilton Boys or something. One of those sides. And then in the
I think it was Ham Boys.
What's that?
I think it was Hamilton Boys because we had a shit first 15 that year, so we're watching everything on the TV. So I think we're pretty happy to see you boys go down just quietly.
Yeah, probably. And then 13 was the biggie. You were skip of Beads.
Yep. Yeah, we were. We had that game where we lost 12-11, and you kicked 4 penalties, and we've lost a heartbreaker.
Yeah. So it was quite funny because I was skip for Boys High and Decker was skip. So pre-game toss, bloody shaking hands, couple of ex-Kai-Boy lads.
Yeah, that's right.
But, you boys you took it out that year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. You did. I was going to say you wouldn't want to go anywhere else to school, but I did hear a rumour that you did apply for St. Bede's College. Is that got any truth to that statement?
No, that is true. I applied for Boys High and Bede's outer zone. Didn't get in either. So the whole reason why that was it would have meant we didn't have to move from Kai-Boy. So didn't get into either.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Mum and Dad a few years prior, because they'd intended on sending myself to Boys High and Katie to Girls High, had the foresight to get a rental in town in Boys High, Girls High zone. So we moved in there so that we could so I could go to Boys High and she could go to Girls High. So pretty big sacrifice from them. But yeah, I mean, if I'd have gotten into B out of zone, then I'd have been trucking up the main North Road on the bus with Decker.
And the red and black would have been good to see.
Yeah, who knows? But
yeah.
Nah, it was good. It was good. If I'd have got in there out of zone, it would have meant Mum and Dad wouldn't have had to shift everything into town, so would have been easier in that aspect. Uproot their whole lives in Kai-Boy.
Your time at Boys High, you would have had a few larrikins there. You got any good stories that come to mind? Shooting around with the likes of probably Jesse Houston, Nathan Evans. I know you boys would have got up to a bit of mischief. You got anything that comes to mind whilst you were at your time at Boys High?
We were pretty honest young men back then. Probably nothing I could share on this anyway.
That's probably fair.
A few weapons went through Boys High together. But yeah, certainly nothing that springs to mind off the top of my head anyway.
No, that's fair enough. You, I was going to say one of your highlights at school would have been that playing Christ College in that traditional.
Yeah.
Just what can you tell us through that experience? Because obviously Will Jordan, he scored that beauty last night. He scored 6 tries that day. You two ran a bit of a cutter that year. But what was it like putting 80 points on Christ College and at home? And it would have just been an unreal feeling, I imagine.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, we're a long time out of school now, but there's certain ones that stick with you. And that's certainly one of them. Like, at the time, yeah, it's massive, but it's probably more afterwards when you realise, like, it's a pretty big game. Those massive traditionals, like, obviously you when you're year 9, 10, 11, if you're not playing or whatever, you're always there watching those big ones. And like in year 12, I think we beat them 28-3 or something like that. It was a comfortable win, but to go back year 13, it was the first time we just had the stand built. So it was at home. It was the first time it had been at home in ages because we used to go from college to Rugby Park. So Rugby Park was technically our home game. I think it was our first proper home game at Straven for, I don't know, 10 or so years. And yeah, to put 80 on them was pretty unreal. well, I'll have to correct you, Decker. Will scored 4 that day.
Oh, my mistake.
That's all
my
right.
mistake.
That's all right. He scored 4. I managed to bag a hat trick and 10 conversions. So yeah, it was a pretty handy day at the office from the boys. But yeah, there was like 2 or 3 minutes to go, and I broke through to try and bag another meat pie. Got cut down just before the line. Turned around, hose on my shoulder, pop it up to Will. He trots in for his 4th. I was like, "Oh, you tinny bastard!" But hey, he's always there. Isn't he?
I've actually seen that clip too.
Yeah, he's always there. That's the thing about Will, you know.
Yeah.
He knows how to put himself in the right spot, and full credit to that. Like, you know, it's not easy to do, and he seems to make it look really easy, but it's bloody not.
He showed it last night again. Do you think, because that game was on Sky Sport, do you think, I don't think in New Zealand that they're doing
I think they've flagged it,
first-team coverage anymore.
They have.
Yeah. Did you feel like having that sort of game on massive television on Sky Sport? Do you reckon? And I think you might have had a couple. Obviously, year 12, you're at top 4, you're on TV and stuff again. There, do you reckon that sort of helps you get a little bit of your foot in the door to progress your career out of school a little bit? You're in the academies and stuff already, but do you feel like it helped sort of give yourself a bit of a name around the country?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I mean, if you look at it, like, yeah, I suppose you're on Sky Sport. You know what I mean? Like, it is gonna get your name out there. Yeah, I'd never really thought about that too much, to be honest with you, but I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? That it is gonna get you out there, like, you know, Will was carving up as well. Certainly would have, I suppose, would have done a little bit to help. But yeah, I think they have cut them, which is interesting because they're always the big ones. You'd look, watch one of the Sky Sport games because it's pretty unique being a young fella, bloody broadcasted on Sky Sport.
Yeah, it's unreal. I remember you guys played Stack one game. It was on Sky Sport, and we had an early game at 12 o'clock, and I just remember racing home with Will Tucker and Tom Zialo, get it on the old My Sky, delayed by 10 minutes, and watching that game. I reckon, it was good. It's a bit of a shame they've cut that, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was, financial reasons or something it might have been, but
yeah, I don't know.
It is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, potentially pressure on.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. That's actually news to me.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of it around putting too much pressure on young kids' shoulders as well. It was apparently a little bit of that was thrown around for a reason as well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Live for the pressure.
Single swim,
like fucking meat pie on TV and it's a single swim. Get the meat pie on TV and have that on the My Sky box for fucking 20 years to come.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've gone from obviously schoolboy footy, and then you've gone through in 2017, made your debut for Canterbury against Tasman. What was that sort of like for you? Like feeling of running out for them, your home province?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So yeah, I'll rewind you back a little bit. So leaving school, went out to Lincoln, and was into the academy. So that was 2 pretty awesome systems. Like the Crusaders Academy, far out Webby's running an absolute clinic there. And then Lincoln Uni as well was at that time was a pretty awesome sort of runway up into pro rugby. Did a little bit we did the 19s tournament as well. We actually ended up losing the semi there to Wellington. But again, that was a pretty good team, good bunch of lads and stuff. But yeah, just that progression from like boys high, Lincoln in the academy, through to finally getting the debut for Canterbury was awesome. Like obviously, that was my first taste of pro footy. The team that watched growing up through all the grades. That's where you want to get to. You want to play pro footy. So to finally tick that off, I actually debuted against Tasman, up in Tasman, which is a massive rivalry for Canterbury, especially at that time. It was I think Canterbury had won it the year before, and Tasman were right there as well. And it was my debut for Canterbury, and we went up there and beat them 39-0. And I was like, geez, this is bloody Christmas. You know, it was awesome. It's like finally got the debut. We've just gone up there, poked Tassie. I was like, man, this is bloody awesome.
Your time at Lincoln, I remember you were there through those glory, that obviously say a bit of a glory period for Lincoln University. You had an unreal side. Can you talk us through, you had a backline that was pretty much, I think almost all of them went on to play maybe professional footy. Do you remember, are you able to like give us that backline you're running around with?
Yep, I do remember that backline. So we had, at 9 we had Jack Stratton. So he's played Super and, you know, a lot of Mitre 10, and I think he's in Japan now. 10,
yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
10, Brett Cameron. 12.
Shit.
12. We had Harrison Groundwater. 13, Jack Goodhue. 15 was Geordie Barrett. And then we had Caleb Makini on one wing and myself on another wing.
Which is just absurd.
Fucking hell.
Did you guys lose many games with that sort of side? Like just in the round robin? Did you ever get tipped up much?
I can't remember. We
see that. Yeah, that probably says enough. If you can't remember losing, it was obviously once in a fucking blue moon.
Side,
I was it? I played 2016 and 17, and I think that was either title number 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. But I think they did 5 in a row in the end. But yeah, that was a pretty unbelievable run. But yeah, again, that was my 2016 when we had that backline. Was my first year of senior footy, and it was unbelievable. Like, those guys were pretty much all pros. Jack Goodhue had just come back from one of his ACLs, so basically to try and integrate him back into full footy, really, he more or less played the whole season with us for Lincoln, and he's just an absolute unit. We had an unbelievable forward pack as well. Like, I think from that team in 2016, there was so many Canterbury players in the mix in the end. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy backline and a lot of good guys to learn off. But yeah, those couple of years there were pretty good. We did, I don't want to sound arrogant, but we did a lot of winning there and not a whole lot of losing. But yeah, those are a pretty special couple of years.
Yeah. Geez, the fact that you
talk about.
Oh, so no, I'll just chip in. The fact that you played in a club side like that, and then you had to come down to Dunedin and play for the Sharks, a bunch of absolute battlers. Jeez, that must have been tough. That must have been tough.
Sharkies was good, mate. We had good fun.
Yeah, we had good fun. We just I wouldn't say as successful as the Rams.
I was just going to say, on your university career, Joshy, what did you would have been in the halls, I imagine.
Yeah.
What did you came away with a degree in the end?
Nah.
Just binned it?
Nah, so went there, I was like, in year 13, I was in a fortunate position, right? So I signed for Canterbury in about probably halfway through towards the end of the first 15 season in 2015. I signed for 2016 with the academy, and then 2017 with Canterbury. So it was like, I knew I had this 2016, this 1 year of academy stuff, and then the following year I was going to be with Canterbury. So I was hopefully going to, turn rugby into a career sort of thing. So I was like, right, what am I going to do for the next year and a half? Because obviously Mitre 10 doesn't start till the later half of the year. I was like, I've got a year and a half that I need to kill before bloody, full-time rugby sort of thing, and then hopefully progress to a super deal and all that. And I was like, well, I'm probably going to have a better chance at giving the academy a real good crack if I'm at uni, because I was like, shit, if I'm on the tools all day and then rock up to academy and playing club in the weekend. I was like, it's going to be pretty exhausting. So I was like, right, I've got this scholarship to Lincoln for rugby. So I was like, it means I've just got to pay for the halls. The catch is there, you've got to pass all your papers, otherwise they're not free. So I was like, right, I'm going to Lincoln because, good club side as well. I was like, it's probably going to give me the best chance to sort of progress through. So went out to Lincoln, and it was bloody good fun in the halls, man. I had Nate just down the hallway, which was pretty cool. So we were in the same hall, and it was a bloody good year. Uni wasn't for me. Failed a couple of papers, so ended up having to pay for them. And then I did 3 semesters in the end. So I did 2016, and then went back for the first semester of 2017. And then after that, I was like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm wasting my own time. I'm wasting everyone else's time. I was like, I'm just going to pull pin and just focus on footy. So I think I ended up doing 7 papers of a bachelor, and obviously you need 24. So I've almost completed 1 full year. So I could do 1 more paper and swap it for a diploma of commerce. So if I never go back, I'll go to do 1 more paper.
That's not bad.
So I battled a little bit.
Have that in the back pocket.
Yeah. But nah, it was.
Thank God you're a good footy player.
Wasn't for me, mate. Couldn't hack sitting through uni lectures.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good story though. I imagine you would have enjoyed those sort of garden party sort of festivities and those events though in your tenure as a university student.
Yeah, it was good. We had our student night was a Wednesday as well, so it meant that if you went out on a Wednesday night, you had 2 days to sort of get yourself back on track. Whereas the old Thursday nighter only gave yourself Friday. So that whole year, I think I only did sort of 1 big Thursday night because just knock you around too much for footies. But the Lincoln Uni student night was a Wednesday, so the garden parties were good fun. The Wednesdays were good fun. It was a bloody good year.
I can imagine. Would have had a good crack at it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll progress into Super Rugby. Oh, actually, nah. So before we go into Super Rugby, I'm just going to talk about you played a few Ranfurly Shield matches, as the Ranfurly Shield's a bit of a hot topic at the moment.
Where are we going with this?
Hey, no. There's no stitch up. Well, I was just going to say, I think you lost the Shield in 2017 to the Naki.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was like the sort of feeling in the sheds after that one?
Yeah, that hurt because it's funny because when I came into the team, we already had the Shield, so it was kind of like, yeah, the Shield's there, but I wasn't in the team that earned there and won the Shield. So then when you lose it, it almost feels like it's not yours to lose. Like, did I even deserve to be defending it in the first place? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's the team, but it's hard not to feel that as a player. So when we did lose it to Taranaki, like that was our last Shield defence before we would have locked it up for the summer. I think we had the semi-finals either the week later or the week after, and it was like, right, we've just got to win this Taranaki game to lock the old Earl up for the summer. And then we went out there and lost it, and it was just gutting, like. There's so much more on the line when the Shield's on the line than just another pool game. Like, obviously every game's massive, but when you lose the Shield at home in front of your own fans, oh man, it sucks. And then you see them lifting it up, and straight away it just sets that fire in the belly, you know what I mean? So, losing that, you're absolutely spewing. It's like the world's ended.
Yeah, so, obviously the how you said that you didn't really feel like you deserved to be playing for it in a way. How good was it when you guys won it back in 2019? Well, that must have been unreal.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most special sort of provincial wins I've been a part of. Obviously, and then to win it back in 2019 was it was unbelievable to be just part of that experience, winning the Shield. Like, obviously, when you're young, you're coming up, you hear all about winning the Shield. To finally say, yeah, I've won the Shield is a bloody good feeling, and it was a good experience. To do it in the Forsyth Bar as well was obviously pretty special. By that stage, I think I'd done 2 seasons with the Landers, so knew the Forsyth Bar pretty well, knew a lot of the Otago people, so that almost makes it that little bit extra special, that people who in another team you grow a really tight relationship with. You go down there and you battle against them and you manage to get one up over them. I think the only thing that sort of semi-patched up the 2017 loss was that we actually managed to take the title out that year, so that made us sleep a little bit easier at night. If we'd have not won that, then that would have been a bit of a sucky old season. But to take it off Otago in 2019 and then it just sort of feels right,
Yeah, that's unreal.
Doing that sort of full circle of losing it, not getting a challenge, and then finally winning it was like, yeah, right, we've gone full circle now. I've got to defend it again.
Yeah, take the off.
Yeah, how good. So yeah, now we'll push into your super. So obviously you went down to the Highlanders, debuted for them in 2018. What made you sort of decide to head south down there opposed to trying to stick around with the Crusaders sort of thing?
Yeah, so the way it worked out in the end was I was nearly going to go. Well, I was going to go do New Zealand Sevens for sort of that 2018 period of Super before I was going to go back to Canterbury. So I was pretty much all jacked up, ready to go there, and then pretty late in the Mitre 10 season, our major called me and said, "Yeah, we've got a contract for you for the Highlanders." So, I always wanted to be a 15s player, not a 7s player. So there was nothing for me at the Crusaders. They'd just signed Braden and Will, so they were their sort of young lads, and the squad was full. So that was fair enough. I mean, they've both gone on to be All Blacks, so can't be too worried about that. And then when the opportunity came to go to Dunedin, another good thing about Dunedin, it's only just down the road. I didn't have to hop on a plane or drive, over to the North Island. It was pretty easy to just hop in the wagon and head down the main road. Both in the South Island, obviously. So that was pretty handy. But no, it was awesome. It was a no-brainer for me in the end. I always wanted to play 15s, and it meant that I was going to be able to just do pro rugby all year round, I suppose, which was a goal of mine that I'd set basically from the moment I'd figured out what I wanted to do, which was a pretty young age. Like, if anyone would ever ask me what I wanted to do, it was play rugby. So yeah, so that's sort of how that all worked out. Pretty late in the Mitre 10 season, call from our major, do you want to come to the Landers? Yeah, bloody oath, sounds good. We'll see you soon. And then would have been on deck in December, a couple months later that year. So it all happened pretty quick in the end.
Shit. So did you sort of not have anything else really going? Like you say, like late in the NPC season. Was there no real talks other than that?
Nah. So I was going to be going to New Zealand Sevens based in the Mount. I was almost like starting to look for accommodation and stuff. So Mitre 10 usually finishes late October. We probably would have been. I can't remember. It was certainly after the middle of the season though. There's 10 games, semis, finals, so it would have been within 2 months of the season finishing. So no, it all happened quick. So yeah, I was going to be going to the Mount to do New Zealand Sevens for probably what would that have been, about 8 months, and then come back for the following Mitre 10 season. So no, it all did happen pretty quick. But yeah, if I didn't go down south, I was going to go and do New Zealand Sevens for sort of 8 months.
Yeah. How did you find your time with the Highlanders there?
It was good fun. My first 2 years, like we had a really strong back three, and obviously Bender, Wise, and Tavita Lee basically had those jerseys on lock if they weren't injured for those first 2 years. And then, so I think I only played 4 or 5 games in those first couple of seasons. And that was probably the first time in my career where, you weren't sort of that first choice player. And, obviously it was a massive step up. So I'm not sour grapes or anything. Like it was awesome to learn off those guys. All 3 of them are phenomenal players. Bender, probably one of the best fullbacks ever. And the ability that Tavita and Wise have to just break tackles, score tries, was unbelievable. So it was awesome. I suppose it was a little bit of an adjustment. It was the first time I'd ever been out of the red and black, I suppose, underneath that, Canterbury Crusaders sort of banner. Like I'd grown up, all my footy had been in Canterbury, whether it be growing up in Kaiapoi, Boys High, Canterbury. It was all red and black. So that was probably the biggest shift. But I was young, I was enthusiastic, I was keen as mustard to get stuck in, and I was still pretty bloody young. Like I think I was 19 in my first season, so it was pretty awesome. I always remember my debut. Bender was getting a rest week, so managed to debut at fullback. Had Wise on one wing, Tavita on the other. Lima was at 10, Nuggy was at 9. It was like, far out, these guys are beasts, you know what I mean? Here's this wee 19-year-old lad. It was against the Reds over at Suncorp. I've got some family in Brisbane, so they came down and watched, and it was a special night, and definitely a game I'll remember forever. Super Rugby debut, I was actually, pinching myself. It was awesome. It was awesome few years, and then in my 3rd year, I played a bit more. That was a funny old season because we started off in normal super, and then we must have been about a month into the comp. Then COVID came up. So pretty crazy story actually. So the Highlanders, we were touring when COVID all came to a boil. So we flew to South Africa. Then when we got there was like talk of COVID and stuff, and we're all like, doesn't matter. It'll be fine. We'll be all good. And then we flew from South Africa to Argentina for the next game to play the Jaguares. And then it's like, things are getting a bit more serious now. There's chat of maybe a lockdown. All the partners are pumping our manager with comms, like, what's happening? Like, are the boys all good? Like, you guys might not be able to come home and all this. And we're like, oh, geez, this is getting a wee bit too serious. Like, we're trying to prepare for a game on Saturday. And then it was like game day the night before. We're like, it's like, right, this game's going ahead, regardless. Everyone has that chat, like, yeah, it doesn't matter, this game's happening, sort of thing. Like, prepare as if it's happening. The coach is like, yeah, game's happening. Get to 3 p.m. on game day. Nah, boys, game's cancelled, and we're out of here tomorrow. And it's like, holy moly, now we're getting serious. And then it's like, right, when we get home, we're going into lockdown. So the way it worked was New Zealand hadn't gone into lockdown yet or anything like that. It was just normal, but because we were coming in from another place, we were going to have to go into like the individual lockdown. But it was an absolute shambles because I was going back into a flat with like 3 or 4 other people, and it was like, are they going to be able to come and go and all this? So yeah, basically we flew back in, like masks and everything at the airport. We got back to NZ. We didn't know if we were going to have to go to some like managed big tent out in a field or whatever. Sure enough, we're allowed to go back home, and then about 5 or 6 days in, it's like, right, this is full serious. The whole country's going into lockdown. We're like, oh, this is bullshit. We've already been locked down for a week. When I first got back to Gunners, I buggered off hunting. I went off hunting for 2 nights. I was like, oh, I'm not sitting around doing this. Like, I'm just going to go hunting. I was real naive. I was like, I'm safe in the hills. No one out there's got COVID. and then get the message like, oh, you're going to have to come back. Like, it's getting a bit serious. I was like, oh, Jesus. So then I buggered off back up to mum and dad's in Kaipoi. But yeah, that was how COVID sort of kicked off for us. And the third season of Super was hectic. Sorry, I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, boys. But that was
No, it's a good story though.
Yeah. So then we obviously had the what were we, sort of 2 months or so, and then it was like, right, the South African teams, they're gone. The Jaguaries, they're gone. The Sunwolves, they're gone. What the hell are we going to do? Aussie, we can't go to Aussie. And then that was when Super Rugby Aotearoa was sort of formed. And it was like, we're going to do what? Jeepers, we're just going to play each other. So that third season was the season of Super that I played the most in. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a funny season.
Did you find when it went to Super Rugby Aotearoa, did it get boring as a player just playing those same 4 teams for what would have been close to just 2 years, pretty much almost?
Yeah.
Did you get over it? Not getting over to Australia and South Africa and playing everyone else?
Yeah, obviously those away trips are awesome for team bonding. They're the ones you want to be on. You're away with the lads for 2, sometimes up to 3 weeks during Super. To then going away to you do maybe same day travel, or you'd go away just for one night because they want to keep you in your wee bubble as much as possible. It was certainly different. It was probably more similar to, it was very similar to the sort of Mitre 10 travel. You just get in, get out. But yeah, we were playing each other a lot. Like I think every 5 weeks you'd almost be playing the same team again. So it was definitely harder, but I suppose, this is certainly the way I looked at it. I was like, we either do this or we don't play. So for me, when you boiled it back to that, it was like either you play all the New Zealand teams, 2, maybe 3, when we'd play Crusaders in pre-season, play them twice again, sometimes up to 4 times in a season. But the alternative was don't play. So, we did play the same teams a lot, which you can get a bit sick of. But at the end of the day, it's professional sport, you've just got to get over that. And it's so much better doing that than not playing.
Was there any discussions when COVID hit? Was there any discussions around your contracts? Did they have to have a word? Did you boys get trimmed down a bit at all?
Yeah, we did get trimmed down. It was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the NZ Rugby Player Associations, they bet on behalf of the players. They do a bloody good job. They sort of went into bat for all the boys. Yeah, we all did get cuts in the end. But, I mean, we were lucky, a lot of people lost jobs, lost businesses that they'd built up. We were, by no means worried about that, you know what I mean? There was far more serious things going on about than a bunch of rugby players having a whinge about getting some money taken off them, it was bigger than that. It was bigger than that, the whole country was hurting. I suppose thinking back to that time, we just wanted to try and put some smiles on people's faces, you know what I mean? We were still in employment, bottom line. Yes, it's rugby and it's fun, but, for all of us, it's still employment. So we were lucky to be still getting paid, still being able to go around and play these teams and just do what we could for the community to try and put some smiles on faces because, it was a pretty isolating and tough time for a lot of people in the whole country.
Yeah, you did say you made that point about the partners bombarding the manager when you're on tour, and sort of leads into a new segment we've actually got on this potty, which is called Match Made in Heaven. So we've been in touch with your lovely girlfriend Lily, just asked her a couple of questions, and we'll ask you the question first and get your response, and then just see if it matches up with her answer, which we've got a voice note for, so we'll play it back to you.
Perfect.
So we're hoping she hasn't colluded with you.
Nah, she's not.
We'll see how we go.
She's not.
Okay, that's good. Good on her. Well, the first one. You've got the order. You got them there, Keys. You know the order. If I just ask whatever question
Yeah.
it is here.
You just fire away, bro. I've got us here.
Okay. So the first one we got here, Joshy, is what's the most romantic date he's taken you on?
We went out for dinner last night, so that's fresh in the memory. The most romantic. We probably don't really go on like a romantic date as such. Like we've had some nice holidays together where the whole thing's sort of been,
Yeah.
I suppose what you class as romantic. But if I had to trim it down to one, I'd probably have to go. Not long before we came over, we went on a jet boating trip up the Dart River, and just down in Central. It was absolutely beautiful. We had boiled saveloys for lunch, and yeah, we went on a beautiful jet boat trip, and I'm locking in that.
That's the answer.
Awfully romantic.
This is gonna be fantastic. I think how you classify romantic and how Lily classifies romantic might be two different things. But here we go.
Sorry, I've re-recorded this one a million times because it's hard. We do lots of nice things together, but in terms of like a date, it would probably have to be earlier this year. Josh had surprised me with a weekend away to this really nice hotel that I've been wanting to check out, and we had like a spa day and ate really good food, and yeah, it was just really nice because it was a complete surprise, so I had no idea what was happening, and yeah.
Oh, so not quite the jet boating trip up the Dart River. I'll be having words with her.
It does sound like you outdone yourself on that one, though.
Yeah, it looks like you sold yourself a bit short there.
Absolutely blinder.
An absolute clinic. Right, second question we've got here is what nickname do you have for him?
Nicknames. Probably just Babe. A bit of a babe. Nah, I don't know, man. Doesn't really. We don't really have nicknames. I just call her Lil, and she just calls me Josh. What would she have said? Nah, honestly, boys, I don't know, eh? I have no idea what she's going to say here.
Okay.
The nicknames are pretty basic, really. Just Joshy or Sausage sometimes because he loves sausage suppers, and it's just kind of stuck. Aside from that, I can't really think.
Yeah,
sausage.
Don't know where sausage come from.
Well,
but you did. All the rest of it, I'm not surprised with.
You did mention the saveloys.
Yeah, true. Not far off.
So it's in play.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that one, to be honest. Don't know about sausage, though.
That's good, though.
That's marginal.
Hopefully, hopefully the lads pick up on that. Maybe you get that at training next week. Right. What do we got here? Next one. Has he ever cried during a movie or TV show?
Nah. I don't reckon.
Quick answer. He's looking at it.
Got to be sad before I'm crying, boys.
Yeah. Okay, Keegs.
You ever cried during a movie or a TV show? Not like sobbing or anything like that, but definitely, on long haul flights or anything like that, he is in his own zone with his headphones on, and you'll just look over and he is absolutely losing it, like happy tears at movies. But aside from that, no.
Yeah. She said it.
A joyous man.
Yeah, you get a bit delirious on those long flights.
You really like to get locked in.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, you do. I was just gonna say, you seem like you really, when you're watching something, you really like to get locked in. How you talking about the AV's game last night?
Yeah.
Just want to stay home, get locked in.
Yeah. That's pretty true.
What do we got here? So I'd say you're probably ticking along at 2 from 3 here, Josh. It wasn't too bad. We've got 2 to go. What's the worst present he's ever bought you?
Geez, I've probably bought her some dusters, to be fair. I know I've definitely bought her some things that are of dual benefit, if that makes sense. Benefiting her and I, but I just can't remember what they are. But yeah, if I had to pick something, it would probably be something that is probably going to be of benefit to me just as much as it is her.
Righto.
Worst present. There actually haven't been any bad presents because I've picked them all.
Yeah, that's probably a fair shout as well. I'm a bit hopeless on the present front. Well, to be honest, to negotiate or to negate rather buying a bad present, I'll say to her like, what do you want? What do you feel like? Just narrow it down for me. Otherwise, you're going to end up with something dusty. That's just a waste of money. Not awfully original.
Yeah, I'm with you there though. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, you're better off just sort of getting it narrowed down for you, instead of going in blind and then being like, "Oh, cheers, that's real cool."
Right, last one. We've got what's the one thing that he does that gives you the biggest ick?
I'll sometimes just be sitting on the couch in my own little world, and then I'll try and do this whistle that I randomly sometimes do, like imitating the kettle. I'll just be sitting there and I'll just be like, and then she'll be like, start throwing pins at me and stuff. I'm like, oh, sorry. Didn't even realise I was doing it. What else gives her the ick? Oh, that like stupid dance thing. I'll sometimes just bust that out, and she hates that too. Probably one of them two. If I was a betting man, then I'd probably say one of them two things. Probably that one, actually. You know that stupid bloody TikTok dance move I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. That definitely gives her the ick, so I'm hoping that will be her answer.
Could have to be, I don't know what the dance is called. It's a TikTok one. You know the one where they do like the bunny ears and they jump around? Every time something good happens, or he's had a few drinks, or just any occasion really, he seems to pull that one out, and every time it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not surprised.
Right on the money.
That she doesn't like it. We all like a bit of encouragement, so sometimes that will be the reason why I'll pop that out. But I don't think I'd be making a TikTok of myself doing it, or if there was a camera out, I probably wouldn't be doing it. Oh, I'm tough with that one.
You've actually done pretty bloody well.
Yeah, you've done well there, actually, for the debut of the segment.
But...
It's not a bad start. You've pulled through. You've pulled through. That was good stuff. You can carry us on, Keegs.
Yeah, I guess I actually want to touch on one thing before we're going to shoot over, talk about your trip to Glasgow and whatnot. But before we touch on that, just wanted you to run us through this. I found a wee video on YouTube, Josh McKay's Sweet Shepherd's Pie video.
Oh,
I just wanted you to run through this with us.
We blast from the past.
It looked. I won't say the final result of that shepherd's pie. I'm sure we'll clip it and get your thoughts on it. But the final, when you've dished out and skipped it out, didn't didn't look overly, shall I say, appealing. But is that your own recipe there,
Nah,
or is
sorry,
that
I thought
Sue's recipe, or just the one that's whipped up off the internet?
Nah, I thought you were about to whip the video up. That was why I was like went a bit silent. Nah, so that's actually
No, we're not that technically advanced yet.
yeah. I was going to say, geez, the boys are sharp. Nah, that's a massive stitch up because one of the ladies at the Landers at the time I think there was a couple of us that did different recipes, and it just happened that my bloody name rhymed with sweet shepherd's pie somehow, and it was a vegetarian sweet. No, what was it? Yeah, it was a vegetarian shepherd's pie, which was a massive stitch up from the get go. So I don't even know where the recipe came from. I think it was like one of those New World recipes or something, maybe, or just some random one offline. But yeah, I think it was definitely Hunty part of the video as well, and maybe Bran or someone else. But yeah, we had to go out and cook some stuff, and nah, I can honestly say I never whipped that up again. That was a disgrace of a meal. It was an absolute bloody stitch up. Vegetarian shepherd's pie.
There was a few question marks when it was vegetarian. It just didn't quite add up. And then
Yeah,
you watch
certainly.
your face in the video as you're pulling it out of the oven and dishing it up. You do about 3 takes at it, looking at it, going, "Oh hell, is this is this what it is?"
Just trying to do everything I could to make it look a bit better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it was probably dusty. Yeah, that was a stitch up, that one.
Can you cook? Are you a good chef?
Not really, to be honest. Lil does most of the stuff around here, which is quite handy. But yeah, if she's busy or whatever, then I'll step up in the kitchen. But certainly a lot more boring than her. You know, I could quite happily just eat a steak or lamb chops and spuds and broccoli and every night. You know what I mean? Just rotate the meat, spuds and broccoli. I could eat pretty boring, but it's good because Lil keeps it interesting in the kitchen, which is nice.
Yeah, nice. Classic meat, 3 veg kind of guy.
Yeah,
I like it.
can't go wrong.
Yeah, nice. I guess we'll shoot over into your time now. So you're obviously living in Scotland, playing for the Glasgow Warriors. I saw an article. You've got a bit of heritage, Scottish heritage, but like not enough to, not enough to have a passport, whatnot. So you just moved over there just for an opportunity, sort of thing. Like, talk us through moving over to the other side of the world and playing in the URC.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've absolutely loved it. Lil's loving it over here too, which sort of makes it a lot easier as well. But yeah, so originally the Mackays are from way up north in Scotland, but we moved over to New Zealand in like the 1850s or something. And obviously to qualify, it needs to be like an immediate grandparent. But the reason why I was able to get an ancestry visa is because my mum's adopted, and her birth mother, so technically my birth grandmother, was born in England. So that means that I was able to get the ancestry visa for the UK, which means I'm able to do or play professional sport over here, because the normal visa doesn't permit pro sport. There's obviously certain variations and reasons why that can be exempt, but in my situation, the only way for me to play rugby in the Northern Hemisphere, or in Great Britain anyway, is on the ancestry visa, which luckily enough, my birth grandmother happened to be from England, so that was how I qualified. Obviously, to play for Scotland, for someone like myself, I'd have to do 5 years here, which is a bloody long time. Like, I've not even done 2 years, you know what I mean? So that's certainly not in the plans. But no, living in Glasgow is awesome. To be honest with you, I didn't really know much about Glasgow before coming over here. But there was a couple of Kiwi boys in the team, so my my mate Cole Forbes. So I reached out to him, and he spoke highly of the club and stuff and all that sort of thing. So it was a good opportunity to come over and sort of change things up. Like I sort of looked at it, I was like, if I stayed at the Crusaders, then obviously it's a pretty good back three. I was like, I'm young, I just want to play rugby. I just want to be on the field. So they were looking for an outside back, and yeah, I was more than happy to come over and sort of experience something completely different. Like I'd been out of my comfort zone a little bit when I moved to Dunedin, but she's nothing like moving to the other side of the world. But yeah, I've got no regrets. I've absolutely loved playing for the Warriors. Love the club. Love the boys. Everyone's so welcoming. It's an awesome environment. We're playing pretty good footy now. When I first came over, we were going all good as well, to be fair, but we sort of bombed out towards the tail end of the season. Whereas last year we picked up our act quite a bit, had a pretty bloody good season. We ended up losing the second tier, sort of the European Cup, not the big dog one, but the second tier. We ended up making the final of that. We did lose it to Toulon, but that was just a really good experience for everyone in the club. Really, it had been a while since we'd been to a final and all that sort of thing. So, mate, Glasgow's a good city. It cops a bit of a hard rap, but yeah, no, I've absolutely loved it. It's completely different over here. As you're in Ireland now, you'll know that. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, nice. I was you guys URC starts this coming weekend, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Who you guys got round one?
So round one we've got Leinster, and
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys know much about them. You possibly do, you possibly might not. They've been in a unique situation. They've more or less been the benchmark, certainly in our comp, but the last 2 seasons they've come unstuck.
I've lost both.
Obviously, they've got a lot of the Irish players. What's that?
I've lost both those finals, eh? But are they? They won't be available this week, will they? They'll be obviously all those Irish players will be stood down. So you'll be looking to run a bit of a muck on them.
They better bloody not be playing, Declan. Yeah, Leinster. They've built a humongous squad, so like they've got the luxury of they lose more or less most of their starting 15, and they're a bit like the Crusaders. They can lose a lot of first line players and still put a bloody good team on the field. We're still going to be missing quite a few of our boys too, through just World Cup stand downs, boys having some time off and stuff. But no, it's going to be a good game to start the season with, that's for sure. They're a bloody good outfit. They're well drilled. They've got a massive squad. Yeah, yes, they've not won as many titles as what they possibly could have done in the last 2 seasons. But they're certainly there or thereabouts as far as the benchmark goes. Like they've been there or thereabouts to win the last 2 European finals and the last 2 URCs. But they've just lost semis and finals, in the last minute. So they'll be looking for a bit of redemption this season, I'd imagine. Particularly now that a lot of those boys are just bowed out of the cup. So they're a team that's going to need no external motivation. They're a good bunch, but we're looking to go one step further this year as well. We're in the main European Champions Cup. No, I don't even know what it's called. We are in the champ. There's the challenge and the champ. We're in the challenge last year, so we're in the main. I think it was called the Heinekens. So we're in that one this year, and we've had a bloody good pre-season, and we've had a couple pre-season games, and we had a massive off season, 3 months in the end. But yeah, everyone's pretty excited to finally be back into footy. I played my first game back last weekend because I blew my foot to bits. But it's all happened.
Talk us through that injury. What did you actually do to your your hoof in the end?
Yeah, so I did my Liz Frank in the end, which is it's kind of like in the middle of the foot, where the toes sort of connect to the. It's basically right smack in the middle of the foot. Your toes come in like a lot further than what you actually realise. So basically, my foot went like that. So I got landed on like that, straight up and down, and then it just basically went, which was pretty gnarly, to be fair. When I sort of limped off the field, I was like, "Oh, this is no good here." And I'd heard of boys doing their Liz Frank before, and I was like, "Ah, oh, shit, it's not ideal. Obviously, no injury is ideal." But yeah, knew it wasn't one of the great ones to have, especially for an outside back. So ended up having to get a titanium plate and 4 screws put in, just sort of because I'd broke bones and torn ligaments and stuff. So it was pretty nasty. So got that. 10 weeks later, got that all taken out because it was my right foot. So my kicking foot, I'll show you the x-rays. So it was my kicking foot, and I sort of had to chat with the coach because we had such a long off season. We kind of agreed that the best path forward was going to be to actually get the plate taken out. So 10 weeks after the first surgery, got the plate taken out. So that's sort of the middle of my foot there, and that's the plate and 4 screws going in.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then this is the top view, sort of going through.
Oh,
and then this is that's the.
Oh, Jesus.
Split it right up the guts.
Yeah.
You done a good job there, Joshy.
So she
One
was
hell of a job.
She was not ideal. But no, I mean, it's 7 months in the end I was out. So it's, I mean, the Liz Frank's usually a 6 to 7 monther. So 6 months, 7 months if you get the second surgery, which takes it out. But that just meant that had I not have got the screws and plate taken out, I come back, I'm trying to kick. It's the friggin' ball bouncing off screws and plates.
Yeah, that would have been.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, get it out, and then we'll go from there. So, there's basically been no complications, which has been good. It's all gone smooth. Managed to get the first game back last weekend, so kind of feels like all the hard work you put in is validated, and just in time to miss the first block of pre-season, which was absolutely grueling, watching the boys get flogged, and just in time for the games. So, yeah, the boys will say that it was all timed out, but that was just the way that it worked out.
What do you in that rehab period of 7 months? What do you get up to? You obviously still go into training? You'd have your physios and stuff, I imagine, at your centre, but you'd have a lot more downtime. Did you? You pick up any hobbies, or how did you sort of pass time?
It's weird. Like, I was at the start of it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have heaps of time, sort of thing. The first 2 weeks, I was basically couch bound, more or less. So I was just playing PlayStation, which was, it was actually bloody good fun.
What were you running? What were you running on the console? What were we playing? Bit of FIFA, bit of 2K?
Nah, I actually just went all in on Skyrim.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. That's it. Says it there. It's a bit of a nerdy one. I've pumped.
Yeah, I barely even know what that is, to be honest, but I do know the name. I've
put some serious hours on the thumbs in those 2 weeks. But yeah, it was weird. Like, you literally have to start back, like training your toes, how to wiggle and work again, and like I did like 3 months in a moon boot in total, sort of thing. So that sort of makes your foot work all funny and your ankle. So it was pretty weird. It's definitely the worst injury I've had by a mile. So yeah, you got to tip your hat to those boys who are, ACLs or, getting injured back after like back-to-back injuries. Like, it's bloody tough, man. Like, you're still expected to go in probably after the first month where I couldn't do a whole heap. You're in 4 times a week with the physios. The first probably 6 weeks we were still in season. we still had games and whatnot, and then the season finished. And then it was pretty tough when the season finished because most of the boys were either off with Scotland or off home on holiday, whereas all us injured boys, we were just keep rocking in every day. We'd sort of planned it out because all the physios, they know the injuries, they know what you can roughly do when. So we planned it out right at the start. It was like, right, when's going to be the best time for me to get back to New Zealand, sort of thing. And we agreed that later on, when I was more mobile, was going to be better because it meant I didn't need as much hands-on time with the physios. I didn't need, I could do my own running and all that sort of thing. Like I was going to be able to get a hunt in and stuff. If I went back straight away, I was going to be good to nobody. You know what I mean? I would have been sat around on the couch feeling sorry for myself. So it was probably 4-ish months after surgery, I was able to get back home. So I got back home for 3 weeks. That was good. Catch up with all the family, sort of really refresh, get down south, catch up with Lil's family, then come back. And when I came back, I was in a pretty decent spot where I knew it was roughly 2 months before the games were going to start. And we were able just to sort of tick off boxes as we went each week. After basically once I'd got him back from New Zealand as well, the team was back in for pre-season. So, it went from there might have been 5 of us in, rehab boys in for the day, to, the whole squad's back in. And, the days when the squad comes back in are slightly longer because there's just more boys in there and, like, we're following the team schedule. But for morale, it's so good, seeing all the boys who you've not seen for ages. It just really helps you get through your day. And then just slowly transitioned back into team training. And then the week before we played, had those final little boxes to tick. Those final wee Broncos you've got to run to prove fitness. And then, finally passed all that. And, she's clean sailing now. I was able to get through 50 minutes without even, batting an eyelid at the foot. So, it was pretty rewarding to, look back on the previous 7 months and go, yep, nailed it, right, next job. She's a normal foot again.
Beauty. Yeah, it would have been rewarding to get back into it. Did you catch anything on your hunting trips, Joshy?
Yeah, managed to, what did we get? Was out with Jesse and a couple of the other boys. We got some pigs, we got a couple of deer. It was a successful trip and good to sort of scratch that itch as well. It was bloody good, mate. Get back home and get back out in the hills.
Get back into it. Yeah, you wouldn't. Can you hunt in Scotland? Have you looked into it?
Yeah, you can, but you've just got to know people. Like I've done one proper hunt here, and that was just by chance that I met a fella at a club one day who was keen for one of the boys to come up, and they were just opening up a new club rooms, and he was like, "Oh, if you come up to the club and sort of shake some hands, we'll jack a hunt up for you." I was like, "Oh, say no more." But he's 4 hours away up in the Highlands, so that was a wicked hunt though. It was good to get out and sort of hunt some different hills. Like a lot of people say it's similar over here as far as like the country and all that, the countryside, and yeah, it is similar, but it's still very different. We've got some rugged hills in New Zealand. Yes, I've got them here, but there's some similar areas to New Zealand, but hey, mate, New Zealand, we've got it good back home.
I guess we'll probably start sort of wrapping it up, I guess, unless we've got a couple more things to tick off, but footy-wise, Dickie, is there much more you sort of want to cover?
No, I think the career speaks for itself so far. No, I think we've ticked most of it off. I think hopefully the listeners have got what they want to hear out of the Josh McKay career. Bit of an insight. But I think we're all right there with the footy stuff. We can move it along into what else you've got teed up.
I just had we put a couple we put a story up on Insta. We had 2 questions come in, both from the same person actually.
Who was that?
Have a guess. Who do you reckon? If you had,
no idea.
Any idea? Cole Forbes.
Oh, Forbesy.
And then he came back with another and said, "Why do they call you Piggy?"
Well, Cole's actually the true Piggy, but we'll leave that up for the listeners' imagination.
What else we got, Keys? You going to do our other segment and then sort of wrap it
Yeah,
up there?
finish off with our this or that segment. A bit of a staple on the potty at the moment, so keep it going, I reckon.
Yeah, righto. If you have any others come up while we're going, but we've got the classic, Josh. We've got a couple, three here are usually the staples of the segment, but we've got fish tacos or no tacos.
I'll go fish tacos.
Good man. We've got shower or grower.
Grower all day long.
I'm waiting for the day we get a bloody get a shower on this podcast. But the only thing is, as soon as someone says they're a shower, everyone will be going, "Geez, is that all you're packing down there?" As soon as they get it out, so I doubt we'll get one. We've got your top three blokes to have a Sunday session with, and I imagine you would have had a few characters from your time in the southern part of the South Island. I'm sure there's a few interesting characters in Glasgow as well, but have you got any that come to mind, top three?
Yeah, definitely Cole. Cole Forbes. Barracuda Buckman. And Tom Sanders.
That's a lineup. That is a lineup indeed.
That was quick too. That's probably the quickest Sunday session top three we've ever had.
Yeah, three absolute weapons.
Three weapons indeed. Was just your opinion on whether the moon landing was real or it was staged?
Yeah, I'll go with real. Not much of a conspiracy theorist, but we'll go with real. We'll lock it in.
Righto. And then one for tonight. You going for? Well, not going for, but who do you think will get over the line? South Africa v France.
Well, everyone talks so much smack about the Southern Hemisphere, and we've done 2 from 2 so far. So, as far as I'm concerned, boys, up Fiji and up South Africa. Let's do the 4.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. We've just got one here. We asked this question to Fabian, actually. Fabian Holman, obviously another Boys High alumni. Throwing it back to the school days, obviously passionate rivalries. We've got Christ College or St. Bede's. He went with St. Bede's, which was quite surprising, I thought, but I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter.
I think what will put me over the line here is the 80-0 day, so I'm going to go College.
Still fresh in the memory. I like it.
Although 11-12 was a very satisfying victory.
That was a dark day. It was Will Tucker got capped that day, and it was a very silent shed, and he wasn't very impressed after that game in the changing sheds.
Knowing him, he's probably still angry about it.
Yeah, he will be. He will be. Angry old man.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it, really. Yeah, well, that's all we've got, really, Keegs, unless you probably wrap it up for us.
Yeah, that's I think that's all from us. Absolute pleasure, Joshy. Thanks for jumping on. You've been an absolute legend. And all the best for your URC season with Glasgow.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Cheers for getting me on. Bloody good to have you on, and hopefully not too boring for the listeners.
No, I think thanks for coming on, Joshy, but I think just going off our last episode, I think we're on the improve with this one. Shout out to Joey Gavigan. I've got a bit of beef going on with him, but reviews went great. So you should be fine, Joshy. But thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up with you another time, hopefully.
Cheers, Joshy.
Too easy.